Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to interview Dr. Lauri Benton, Senior Director of Counselor Engagement at the College Board. Dr. Benton is going to offer some tips to help you earn the best score possible on the SAT. Dr. Benton, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited about the conversation.
Great. So to start off, for the ambitious freshmen and sophomores out there, what should students be doing early on in their high school careers to prepare for the SAT?
Well, we know regardless of the situation, this year presents lots of challenges for students and families, and it's important to just put things in perspective at this point. We know that students are in school in various models, whether it's hybrid, whether they are face-to-face or all virtual. But we know it's important for students to really pay attention to the courses that they're in. Basically, students have been preparing for the SAT since day one of school, whether they were in kindergarten or first grade. All of those projects, all of those events that they participated in class, the questions that they answered set the foundation and laid the foundation for their success on the SAT. And so because we know that the SAT is basically an opportunity, and based on the skills that students are learning in class, we redesigned the SAT a few years ago to better reflect what kids are learning in the classroom, and that is really what they need to be successful in college. So the best prep is for students to do their homework, take those challenging courses, prepare for tests and quizzes, and ask lots of questions to their teachers, work in groups with their other peers so that they can get that foundation necessary to be successful on the SAT. And then basically, in addition, students can begin preparing for their future, as I said, as early or earlier than 8th grade. It's not necessary to do separate steps, but again, it's embedded in their everyday learning environment by taking advantage of opportunities related to the SAT suite of assessments. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. If you're paying attention, doing that homework that's sometimes not fun, but it's helpful for you to be able to gain those skills that ultimately will be best prepare you for the SAT.
Great. So there are tons of resources available online for students to help them prepare for the SAT for free and very cheap too. So which are the best resources that students can use?
Well, I'm a mother, so free is good to me.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about preparing for the SAT, you get no better than Khan Academy. And we partnered with Khan Academy to provide free personalized practice to all students. And I think that's a key word. Not beyond free is the personalized practice aspect, where once students log in and connect their account to Khan Academy resources for official SAT practice, they can actually take a full-length practice test, or they can link their scores if they had the opportunity to take the PSAT, and it will create a personalized practice plan for them based on what they need, based on what their strengths and weaknesses are, their skills, so that it's not just a one-size-fits-all kind of practice experience, but something that's meaningful to them and it's effective and efficient. So free and personalized are two aspects, and Khan Academy, I think, is the best way for students to start this process.
So do you have any tips to help students maybe use that online resource? What's the best way that they can get the most out of Khan Academy?
Well, first of all, this conversation we're having right now is being able to even know about it, to know that there is free information out there and free support resources. So I would ask students and families to look at cb.org so that they can link up with the Khan Academy resource. It's important that students have a plan and stay on track with this college planning. That's the best way that they can effectively use these resources. Anything that we're doing, and as far as college preparation and planning, has to have some level of framework and consistency. And as I said, students are doing what they need to do. If you're doing everything you need to do in class every day, that's one step of it. The next step is having a plan about how I'm going to involve myself in practicing and making sure that I am developing and acknowledging those skills that are necessary for college. One of the things that is important to realize also is that there are regular steps that all students have to take. They have to start researching colleges and opportunities. They need to make sure that they're practicing for the SAT or an admissions exam. They also need to make sure they complete the FAFSA. So there are some core activities that students must do, and we created College Board Opportunity Scholarships, which follow six main steps that students must complete. And so it's important for students to utilize that. So they get two for the price of one. They can follow those steps, but they can also have a chance to earn scholarship dollars by following the steps that all students must do. And so again, that College Board Opportunity Scholarships is open to all juniors and seniors attending high school in the United States and Puerto Rico and U.S. territories. All they need to do is just to sign up, and they can build a college list, practice for the SAT, complete the FAFSA, and each step qualifies them for scholarships ranging from $500 to $2,000.
Great. So how much time should students be spending every day or every week preparing for the SAT, or does that depend on the student?
I think it depends on the student. And again, we don't want to overwhelm students. And that's the thing, is that sometimes we as parents and adults create a frenzy around this process, and it adds undue stress. And we know that times right now are stressful enough, and that's not what we want to do, but we want to make sure in moderation, we want to make sure that at least students say, you know what, I want to spend an hour every week, or I want to spend 2 hours every week, whatever the case may be that is good for them, that makes sense, but not necessarily beat themselves up and put them in a situation where they are overly anxious about this. They're going to end up where they need to be. There is a program for students, for every student most. And so we want them to not necessarily identify, or there's not a one size fits all. 1 hour for you, you get an hour, you get an hour. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, think about what my goals are, think about the time that I have available to dedicate. If I want to do it in a group setting, I can get together with my friends, just like we have study groups. You can have a study group using Khan Academy and say, we're going to look at this on Saturday morning. Whatever works best for them, but definitely make sure that they put some time in that's useful for them to make progress.
Do you have any tips or strategies that students can consider or use while they're taking the actual test?
Right, absolutely. I think the main thing is to remember that there are no trick questions on the SAT. We want students to be able to demonstrate what they've learned in class and not focus on obscure vocabulary words or math that they'll never use again. We eliminated that. We eliminated the penalty for guessing. So students can put their best foot forward on the redesigned SAT. And so with the redesign that happened a few years ago, the new SAT is comprised of reading, writing, and language, and a math test. And it focuses again on those skills that students are learning in high school and those skills that matter most for college readiness. And important for students to remember a few helpful hints on what to expect on actual test day. Students can actually head to CB.Handy checklist, as well as the latest information about test center closures, should they need that due to COVID-19. It's a good idea to follow College Board on Instagram and Twitter for those sample test questions and other timely support as well.
Great. So how many times would you recommend that students take the SAT?
Well, we know research shows that students from all backgrounds can take steps to strengthen their skills and improve their test scores and increase their likelihood of earning a degree. And there's also evidence that retaking the SAT may be an effective strategy. Students who retake the SAT usually get a higher score the second time around, and we know that. We know that also in these challenging times, students may or may not have that second opportunity. So that's why I really encourage students to go on Khan Academy, use that full-length practice test, because they'll get a flow and understanding about what the SAT is asking, the information that they'll be providing, so that when they have an opportunity to sit for the exam, they will be able to put their best foot forward, and they will feel comfortable and confident in the responses and the experiences they have with the SAT.
Great. Well, thanks again, Dr. Benton, for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And for more interviews like this, please subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.